the volume muted
Okay.
just so I can see it. That's cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I might be able to see the chat like that way, if in case
Right.
anybody says hi or
Oh,
something.
yeah. Very good. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. I finally.
Let me just quickly blow my nose. Got a little money nose.
All right.
Before
We
you
are
get started.
live on
Okay,
YouTube.
hold on.
I'm gonna do the intro. I'm gonna do the intro at this anyway.
All
So
right.
you're good
Cool.
to go. Okay. Let me go ahead and get our intro in real quick.
Hi, this is Jack Hughes of Wang Chung, and you're listening to the DND Dynamite 80s podcast show with your hosts DC and DH.
Live from Nashville, Tennessee, you are listening to the D&D Dynamite 80s podcast with your hosts, DC and DH. So guys, take it away. Take it. All right. Welcome in, guys that are joining us on YouTube Live. We'll try to give you some feedback to any questions or comments that you got as you come on. We appreciate you, as always, checking in with us on our weekly podcast that we have. We're excited tonight. We've got Frontiers. These folks are out of the New Jersey area, and they play nationally. They're all over the place, and they've been kind to give us some time tonight to talk about their special gift of what they do, and they are fantastic in themselves. But we've got Elaine and Damon with us from the group. Hey, guys, how are you tonight?
Hello.
Good, I'm good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. Let me start with both of you on this first. It's the normal question that you probably get a lot. When did you get started in music? And what encouraged you to get into music?
Just in general, or you're talking about
just in general. Yeah.
the 80s?
Yeah, your music background.
The time period, growing up in that time period was a big thing for me. Growing up, that all the music, there was so much rock and roll, so much guitar. It was amazing time to grow up with all that. So for me, it was, really all of the exposure to that type of music. And that music dominated everything at that time. So it was definitely the time period for me.
Mm. So when did you pick up that you wanted to play guitar?
I was about 13 when I
Wow.
picked the guitar. There was, so, we had music in my family. So my father, back in the late 50s, was part of Frankie Valli, and they were called the Four Lovers before the Four Seasons.
Oh, wow. Cool. Okay.
They were all from the Newark, New Jersey area. So
Yeah.
he did a lot of stuff in his time, I guess, throughout the late 50s, 60s, into the 70s. So there was always a music thing, in the
Yeah.
family. But yeah, I was 13 when I picked up the guitar, and I just never put it down. Um,
Yeah.
no one forced me, it wasn't my parents, it wasn't pressure, it was just me picking it up, loving the instrument, and just always playing.
When you started it and you had the feel for it and got comfortable playing it, did you, like a lot of our guests when we asked this, did you want to get a band going pretty quickly, like in the teenage years? Or did that come later on that you wanted to do that?
No, so I was always kind of underground with it. I was always around people in bands. It wasn't until I was 16 or 17-ish when I started to really interact on a band level. Those first bunch of years for me was really to I just practiced and took lessons, and,
Yeah.
just did that.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Lane?
So for me, like as far as I can remember, I've been singing. My parents say that I was singing before I was speaking, and
Right.
there's certain records that they had that I was singing along to, and that was like Crosby, Stills and Nash. Janis Joplin. My dad had Pearl on 8-track, and he had the soundtrack to American Graffiti on 8-track also. So ELP, Neil Diamond Greatest Hits. This is what I was hearing like as an infant. And as far as I'm concerned, that made me a musician because I've been singing ever since and always considered myself a singer. Knew that that's what I was supposed to do when I was 5. So it's always been there for me. I took piano lessons when I was in grammar school. And then I went to college for music. So at a mostly vocal school, it's a choral music school for the most part called Westminster Choir College in Princeton, New Jersey. But now it's part of Rider University in Lawrenceville. But so like I have a lot of classical music background and choral singing and like performing at Carnegie Hall and all of
Wow.
this. Yeah, like that kind of stuff, operatic training. And but I've been, a fan of like all kinds of music ever since I can remember because my dad had really great taste. So I was like listening to prog rock. Like it's funny to go to like a Yes concert or like King Crimson and be one of only like maybe 5 women there.
Yeah.
So it's even stranger to know like a young girl into prog rock, but that's
Yeah.
what I was into. So I was into lots of complex, interesting type of music, from a young age on.
Yeah.
And then basically started performing while I was still in college as like a cover artist, I guess you would say, doing weddings, with a group
Yeah.
like that. But it wasn't even aware growing up in Connecticut that like cover bands were a thing. And I went to college in New Jersey, and the Jersey Shore is a very popular, thing. There's even a TV show about it, right? So it's just all beach bars with cover bands everywhere. And so my friends and I from college would go down and hang out. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody's just up here playing. I mean, I can do that. I didn't even realize it was a thing. And I got up on stage with one of the bands and I sang Alanis Morissette's You Ought to Know and like brought the house down.
Yeah.
And I realized, wow, this is it. From that point on, it was people coming to me, asking me to be their singer, be my band. Ever since then, I've been a professional musician pretty much since I graduated from college. So,
Okay. All right. Wow. That is cool stuff. And you already mentioned it. That's what I was going to kind of ask next, but you may want to add to this, guys. Your musical influences, Damon.
I am the same as what Elaine was saying. So I loved rock and roll, hard rock, heavy metal, but I
Mm-hmm.
listened to everything. I was a huge fan of that music, but I listened to everything. And I think great musicians listen to everything.
Yeah.
You can have a specific genre that you love and that you kind of call your own. But I think the diversity and listening to all these different types of genres of music are kind of what well rounds a musician.
That's
So
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I was the same way. I listened to all different types of music growing up,
Mm,
all
mm,
different.
yeah.
same.
Let me ask this. Since we're an 80s podcast where we focus mostly on 80s stuff, what do you think is the attraction to that decade of music that is so popular still with all different types of age groups?
I personally think it has to do with just trends and like just that like things are cyclical. If you've noticed, I remember like when the Monkees came back, it was 20 years after they had been away. Everything kind of goes like in a 20-year rotation. And it was the 80s, the mid 80s. Then when I was in college, everything was disco, was all the rage 20 years back. Then a little bit later, it's 80s again in the 2000s. But I think that with that, like people who were kids in the 80s, like when Lost Boys was out and the
Yeah.
Goonies and
Yeah.
this kind of thing, Raiders of the Lost Ark, all that stuff, they're our age. Damon
Yeah.
and we're that age. So like we were kids in the 80s, and now that's like all of those people are making movies and making music and making TV shows now, and they're kids of the 80s. So now you have stuff like Stranger Things
Yeah.
and this big resurgence of a love of all things 80s again. I think that's what it is. it's also, yeah, a great decade of music, but I think it has to do with, people that are that, that were kids in the 80s are now of the age to be creating stuff that's out there that people are interested in, movies, TV,
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. And that was a strong influence on them, I get, of course, that 80s decade.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's going to kind of, yeah, be the influence that they're going to show on some of their work probably as well. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, most of today's music is pretty much hasn't really changed much since the 90s, if you really think about it. But the 80s is like that was a whole nother,
Yeah.
there were so many different things going on, new wave, and then you had
Yeah.
punk
well,
happening too, and disco was still kind of on its way out, but then you had like this big R&B thing, hip hop started.
Yeah.
I mean, all
that's
this stuff.
I think to add to what Elaine is saying is true, because I think the reason that the popularity of that time period is still around today was due to that blend of like the catchy melodies and like all the experimentation, and like, now for people that are our age, it's more of the nostalgia,
Mm.
that kind of drives that. So,
Yeah.
I think, there was a lot of innovation, and everything was kind of a first, synthesizers and
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
the
That's a
the
great
like
point.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the cultural atmosphere, and everything was just, like I said,
Hmm.
it was kind of like a first of its kind. So yeah, I think that's why it's still so popular. And I also agree that, the music hasn't really changed much today. I think, when all the hip hop and rap took over, more predominantly, I think it didn't really change much, and it kind of stayed that way. And
Yeah.
it's, and actually, I think some of it even got a little bit, kind of, for me, it was kind of weird. Like some of the stuff, like with like a lot of the rap artists and stuff, it kind of got a little out of the box for me.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
used to love 80s, rap and, and hip hoppy type of, music. It was cool, so yeah, I think it stayed the same as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got to ask this one, guys, because I am so interested in what you guys are going to talk about with this, and you may already kind of see it coming anyway. You guys are unique in that you have a female lead singer for a Journey tribute, right? And I'm curious how you came up with that, or was it just one of those things? She just tried out for it and she was it, or did you have an idea going in that's what you was going to do?
Well, I mean, I could definitely answer that because I started Frontiers, and my thoughts on this band was to be outside of the box. So you have lots of tribute bands doing the same types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of Journey tributes. And with the exception of maybe one or two, um, it's very hard to find somebody who looks like Steve Perry from that time period, and definitely who can sound like him in the original key that band sang in back in those days. So I didn't want to settle on a middle-aged person that was just going to get by. And with the amount of shows that we do a year, it's also, we needed a trained professional that would be able to keep up with that kind of a schedule, and be able to bring the same energy every night, or because sometimes we'll play three shows, four shows in a row. It depends on the schedule. So, you know, when when we got Elaine, and all of her training and everything that
Yeah.
she has done in the past, and even though so she's well-rounded, in the
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
with the stuff she listens to, she to me was the sound of what we needed. She sounds like Perry. Some people tell us we cheat because she's a female, but oh well, that's their loss.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think
you know
so.
what?
Thank you.
It was
It's
a little,
fantastic.
yeah. I mean, listen,
Thank you.
Great concept. I mean, it works. It's fantastic. I think.
we're a Journey tribute with a twist.
Yeah.
We have a gimmick, and that
Yeah.
is the fact that we have a female, and everybody knows us as as the Journey tribute with
Mm-hmm.
a female singer, and we've been doing it for 8 years, and the band has grown tremendously. And we average somewhere between 30 and 40 shows a year. We take it nationally, and the consensus of people that you may get some people that have a question mark, but then when they come down and they hear the band, they're fans forever with
Yeah.
us because they
Yeah.
actually take the chance.
They always say the same thing. Like when we do meet and greets, or even in like comments, they'll say like, I couldn't believe it. You close your eyes and it sounds exactly like, and that's what we pride ourselves on, sounding exactly like Journey. That's the whole point, so
Yeah.
it surprises people sometimes, but
And
Oh,
we
I think
wouldn't
it's
have it-
I think it's
we wouldn't have it
fantastic.
we wouldn't have it any other way,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we listen to be a great tribute band. Journey didn't have a gimmick. Like when I say gimmick, meaning, like look at like bands like Fleetwood Mac. They had costumes, they had, stage props. They had things that they had along with their music. Journey had none of that. Journey didn't
No.
have any of that. Journey were five extremely talented musicians that wrote tons of hits, and their clothing was terrible. It was like terrible. The videos were cheesy, but
terrible.
but they wrote 20 or 30
But their music, yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for us, it's okay because for me, this tribute band is all about the music of Journey. We don't have to worry about, the costumes and all these things that other tributes have to deal with. So it's all about the music. And that was the one thing that we made sure that we really honed in on, was to be able to duplicate this exactly as it was on these records. And I know all tribute bands say they do that.
We
but
really do.
we really do, yeah.
Like it's note for note, like every single nuance, like it's identical, basically.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with who we are as musicians.
And we play everything live too. There's no samples, there's no sampled vocals, there's no
Right.
tracks or anything like that. Like
That's
we've
what I was
noticed
gonna. Yeah, you can tell.
doing
Yeah,
shows
you
with
can
other
tell.
people, like showcases
Sure.
and things like that. We've noticed other bands that use canned vocals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
you see the people singing, they're lip syncing. That
Yeah.
I watched them rehearse. Those vocals were on a loop.
Yeah, a lot of
them
do that.
Full on tracks with like parts, keyboard parts, and other parts thrown in that aren't being played. We do everything live. There is no Milli Vanilli moments happening when we, Hi, by the way.
Yeah,
Hi.
DH, welcome
Hi.
in.
Yes,
welcome in,
thank you,
DH.
folks. I apologize for being late. A little bit going on there at work.
Yeah. I filled them in.
Yes, thank you guys.
We got Elaine and Damon from Frontiers.
And my dog Beanie's been at my feet this whole time.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, talk to us, guys, about the other members of the great band that you have.
So my drummer, Jerry Fortis, I actually went to high school with him.
Oh,
and
okay.
Jerry was he was always in the so I never and this is the thing with so to me, you may say a tribute band is a cover band. To me, a tribute band is a tribute band. To me, a cover band is a band that plays everything.
That's right.
All different types of music.
Right.
Now, until this tribute band, I never played or ever had a desire to play cover songs ever. I always was in original music. And so Jerry, our drummer, he was in the cover scene. He did that forever. And I always felt that the best drummers are the drummers that play the clicks during the show, because they're the timekeeper. And I've played with many drummers that were amazing, and I played with some drummers have timing issues. I wanted a drummer who was hard hitting, rock and roll, played to a click. I knew him from high school. He's very dedicated and devoted to this whole project. So that's how we brought, so Jerry was because of that reason. When Elaine had come in, she brought in our bass player, and she could tell you more about that.
Okay.
And she was actually the one who was kind of behind our keyboard players coming into the band as well. So she could explain those relationships to you.
Yeah, Mark and I, we've been good friends for almost, wow, aging ourselves, almost 30 years. Wow.
No, that's not aging.
No.
Oh my God. No, it has been almost that long now.
Yeah.
And we were in a band together called the Brat Pack that played 80s music. That was why we were called the Brat Pack.
That's great.
But the band was all male, and then they wanted to switch over to doing more like modern dance music too, because at the time, like techno was really big, and everybody was going out to watch DJs instead of bands. So our band decided to do half of that. So we were doing like 80s hits, like stuff from like New Order and stuff like that, like dancier or clubbier stuff. But other things too, like the Wild Wild West. Do you remember that song?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep, we did stuff like that, and like some really cool stuff, and like Orgy. I think Blue Monday, right? They did that song, Blue Monday. We did a couple of those tunes, but then we did like a lot of techno too, and then like it was really neat because we had basically two keyboard players, and one of them was also playing guitar, which was barely in any of these club dance hits, and a drummer with all these triggers and an half electric kit, half regular kit. And it was crazy. People would come out and see us, and it was just a big dance party. It was like going to a rave, but a band was playing instead of a DJ. So that was kind of neat. And Mark and I were in that band together, and then that was many years ago. He's always been such a great bassist, and like we've always been in other projects throughout that time. Like we'd never played together again. But we've all been in like associated bands ever since then. He and I have both been on the cover band scene here in New Jersey for years, like as professionals. That like we're like the opposite of Damon. Like he never did that. That's pretty much all we've done. We also do our own original music too, but
yeah.
And then Paul is from Brazil, and we lucked out putting an ad out on a website called Bandmix, I think it is, and he responded to my message. We needed somebody who has an excellent voice, is a great singer, because it's a lot of backing vocals. Plus, he also does all of the Greg Rowley songs from back in the day, and can also obviously play keys well. And he was just perfect. And he came in and did everything. I mean, he sounds so much like Greg Rowley too, which is really neat. And he plays very well. And the great thing is that Damon and Paul and I are all Libras. So we have 3 Libras in the band.
It works.
Balances everything out.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. One of the cool things that just for me, and I've seen a lot of tribute bands, but the emphasis that you guys put on the Journey sound and actually duplicating that sound and that experience is just amazing to me. One of the things I kind of interested in is knowing how much prep time goes into, like, just say if you're going to pick up a new Journey song to add to the set, what kind of prep time goes into that just to be able to get those nuances down? Because you guys do an amazing job of just exactly replicating those sounds.
Yeah, well, we learn the songs on our own, and then we go in and rehearse and make sure it's perfect, and that's it. That's really it.
But you guys do an amazing job. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, I've seen several tribute bands, but you always pick up on well, they're not quite this or they don't quite have this sound. I'm telling you, you guys are spot on. So
thank you so much.
It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I feel like we're at this point kind of a well-oiled machine with this, because we've been doing it for so long, and we all are Journey fans. I think that's the big difference is that we love the music, and when you love something, it tends to be better. And I think one of the biggest testaments to us, we played a live show in Chicago a few months back, and it was live streamed and recorded, and they actually gave the band the footage, and we put it up onto our YouTube page, and it's really amazing. You could really hear and again, we don't use any, we're just a live band. We don't use any backing tracks or anything like everything is live. If somebody makes a mistake,
you hear it.
You're going to hear the mistake.
Yeah.
like there is no,
that's what should happen. I mean, that's the way people should want that, that music.
Yeah, and DC, that's what happens on our show all the time. I mean, we're constant mistakes.
Right. We make plenty of mistakes. Oh, wow. No, that's exactly right, Damon. That's what you expect as a person that's going out and listening to music. If it's on a running on a tape or something, that's not what you're really getting.
It's not the same.
That's not
right.
That's not what you're trying to get.
Yeah, right. It's not. It's a lot of work. People don't really notice, but it's a lot of work. Doing stuff. It's.
Sure.
Depending on the show, it could be a 90-minute set. We could be doing two 50-minute sets. That's 20, could be over 20 songs, and it's exhausting. I mean, we love it. We have a great time, but vocally, there's a ton of work vocally, guitar wise. I'm the only guitar player, and Journey only had one guitar player, and his stuff is not easy to play because he was a great guitar player. I mean,
absolutely.
One
of the top.
Yeah, he was an amazing guitar player, and people don't realize, even with Steve Perry, with his range and his style of singing, and there's a lot of intricacies in these things, and if you're going to do them right, but at the end of the night, it could be exhausting, from trying to do all this stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I see people out in the audience. First of all, I wanted to say that, I love doing this so much. I love performing, period. But this band in particular, the fans love the music so much, and when I look out and see them crying or smiling, singing along, and being so into it. And I'm thinking, it's part of it is me putting that across, but it's Journey's music. And what I'm realizing in that second is that I'm putting it across so well that it's giving them this awesome moment. And it makes me feel so happy that it comes right back to me, and I just give it right back. And it's just a constant give and take, constantly going on when I'm on stage doing Frontiers.
And I think that's one of the coolest things for me is because you guys provide time for people to go back in a time when maybe life was better. Life wasn't as hard as it is these days.
Yeah.
But you give them that time where they can forget about their worries, forget about their troubles. You go back into those memories of the day, and you just fall into it and enjoy it. So that is such a gift you guys.
Amazing gift.
Everybody.
Absolutely. It's an amazing gift that you have.
It's neat to see it happening, in real time, and to know that, wow, it's such a wonderful feeling. I love doing it, and I know the other guys do too. Like Mark and I, we've known each other a long time, and he likes to move a lot on stage too. So we're often just grooving, and people,
that's awesome.
They'll ask us afterwards, are you two married? People just randomly, they notice that, they see that, and you see them doing it too. They'll get up and start dancing with each other. it's just like this love fest. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
DH,
have you
before-
asked the most important question of the night yet?
No, I was about to say before we get them
Okay.
out of here.
So listen, before we do this, I'm going to kind of preface this. What we do, this is a very high budget show, as you can tell. We do our post show recaps every Friday morning at the local Waffle House before work. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you 2 artists to choose from. You get to choose the artist ever how you would like. Whoever's artist you do not choose has to buy breakfast. Now, DC is constantly saying that I cheated this, and I don't understand why. But I am a little behind tonight because I got in late. So I'm going to turn the page real quick. I'm going to turn this page. And by the way,
terrible.
Did I tell y'all that I'm a huge fan of old time rock and roll? Did I mention that? I really love the older
terrible.
rock and roll.
You're giving away all these hints.
Play the Journey because that older rock and roll is just amazing to me.
Right.
I love that old time rock and roll. So I'm going to let DC tell you the artist while I turn the page here. I'm just going to turn my page. I'm turning the page. DC,
I see that.
Between old time rock and roll and turn the page, I already know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No.
So it's Bob Seger versus George Thorogood.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to choose. It's funny. We were just talking about Bob Seger yesterday. I'm saying I'm a little too young to have ever been a fan of his because I couldn't relate to his music, but I love George Thorogood. So
in that case, it was really nice having you on the show. So Damon, that vote didn't count. So we'll go ahead.
That vote does count, by the way. That vote does count.
Yeah, I actually they're both obviously great artists. I know their songs very well, but I would gravitate more towards Bob Seger myself.
There you go.
So
well, we're equal.
In a tiebreaker, it goes back to previous records, which means I win again, DC. Sorry.
You always work an angle.
Oh, you're bad to the bone.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That was good.
That's why I drink alone.
You got that in there.
Tonight you're
I heard
drink
it.
alone. That's right.
Right.
All by myself.
Oh, wow. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate it.
Likewise.
We've held you over a little bit on this, and I apologize, but we've had a great time with you. Let everybody know some upcoming events that you got going on and how to stay in contact with you guys.
So I think the easiest way to to see upcoming shows, all our social media stuff is our website. It's frontiersjourneytribute.com. It has everything.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Like
and
very well done.
We'll be doing the Viva Vienna Festival in Virginia on Memorial Day weekend. I think it's the Sunday.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
We're
going to get you to Nashville somehow. That
would be nice.
Yes.
I've never been.
And when you come to Nashville, DC will buy breakfast for everybody because he's going to lose that week anyway.
Right. That's right. Oh, wow. Can you guys hang as we close out the show?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, DH. Take it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. First off, I'm sorry I got in late, but I really appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Folks, that's going to do it for another episode of D&D Dynamite 80s. Remember, you can find us on... look.
She's been
what a cutie. What a
the
cutie.
entire time. She's
wanted to be on the show. I'm glad glad to get on the show.
By the way, I forgot to tell you guys either congratulations or condolences because you're now officially part of the D&D Dynamite family. So either way you want to look at that, congratulations or condolences.
Thank you.
So, folks, you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, website, Canyon Star TV. We part of their family as well. So please check us out, give us a share, give us a like, all of whatever that stuff is.
Right.
As I always end off before I send it over to DC, folks, remember, it doesn't cost anything extra to be kind, so always be kind to each other. DC?
Amen. Real quick before we get those sponsors in, next week we have the Wildflowers. That's a tribute to Tom Petty. So we'll catch up with them.
That'll be great.
That'll be a cool show. We'll see what they've got happening.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get these sponsors.
Yes, let's do it.
DND Dynamite 80s would like to thank their sponsors, Hudson's Flags and More, Nesting Project of Smyrna, Tennessee, PJG Marketing, Totally Cool 80s, Charlie Bubbles Cares for Kids, Jackie's Creations on Facebook, Riley Rhodes Art Designs at RileyRhodes.art on Instagram, and the Magic Yarn Project.
Yeah.
You can find all these great folks online. You most certainly can.
Yeah.
Tell them about it, DH.
Yes, folks, I'm gonna tell you this time of year, if you're thinking about trying to help an organization or wanting to give or just send positive thoughts, two organizations we are very blessed to be a part of and members of their family. When we started this thing 5 years ago, we said we wanted to find a way to try to give back. Magic Yarn Project. This is a series of individuals across the nation, and what they do, they hand knit head coverings, superheroes, princesses, all of that stuff for children that are battling cancer, and they donate those head coverings and give them to those kids. So what an amazing organization. Help them folks out. They do a great job. And then one other thing, and DC, I'm going to start this, but then I'm going to let you give a little special insight of something special going on.
Yeah.
Charlie Bubbles Cares for Kids. What this organization does, our good friend, the Vooch.
Paul Carafotis, the actor.
Yes,
yep.
Yes, he started this organization. And when you make donations, they're able to provide books for kids that may not otherwise be able to afford those books. And as educators, we both know how important literacy is at a young age. So make sure and check those out. But DC, you have something else special that's going on.
Yeah, with Paul, he has written a new book for a family that lost their daughter to a heart condition. And the book is called Charlie Bubbles, A True Heart. And he's trying to get that thing published. It takes a lot of money to get these books published. And so he's looking for, in his nonprofit organization there, they're looking for some help. So, yeah, Charlie Bubbles Cares at 2629 Foothill Boulevard, number 437 in La Crescenta, California. 91214 is how you can get in touch with them, or PayPal, Charlie Bubbles Books at yahoo.com, or Venmo them at hashtag Bubbles. All right. So, yeah, help the Vooch out.
Yeah, let's make that happen, folks. I mean, our thoughts and prayers to that family and those parents, but really something special. We would love to be a part of making that happen for those.
And he'll make it happen. He's a go-getter, and Paul's awesome, and he'll be able to do that.
Oh yeah, the Boots will take care of it.
You got that right,
no doubt.
All right. Well, once again tonight we had our good friends from Frontiers.
Yes.
And Elaine and Damon, and we appreciate y'all taking some time with us.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you. Thank you for
all the best to you. Safe in your travels, and hopefully we can get you to Nashville and see you live in Nashville.
That would be great. We'd love to.
Yeah. All right. As DC always closes out the show, keep playing those 80s, my friends, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, folks. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Guys.